of the motion this evening. How quickly could we expect the work to begin?
Through your worship, once council passes this motion, I expect to reach out to the Glen Group as early as tomorrow and begin the initial startup and meetings with them to set the parameters straight and then move forward, and expect to begin sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Great. And so will it part of their kickoff be a session with council?
I believe so. I think it's included in there. First part of the kickoff would be to meet with them to just finalize those details on the public engagement sessions and the sessions with council. That's correct.
Perfect. And I know you won't have a timeline yet, but just a rough sense of, we know there's a lot of interest around this. What, like, is it, we're looking at a few weeks or a couple of months in terms of when will the public engagement start?
I expect the public consultation to start sometime here in April and go in through to May and possibly into the early parts of June, and council and the reports to be come back comes early September.
Great. Well, we know we've got a lot of people waiting to give their ideas and visions through that Engage Membership portal, so we'll make sure we spread the word on that when the time comes. Thank you. Councillor Duplessis, I think you.
Yep, to you. If you can, please. Thank you, Your Worship. So I guess first question, I think you may just answer it, but we'll have this back in terms of in time for budget deliberations. Is that the timeline?
Through the chair to Councillor Duplessis, the goal is to have it back so the information can be considered during budget time. That's correct.
Okay. And then another question. We have another big kind of plan in your department for capital and in the active transportation and the active trails plan. How do we, is there overlap here, and how do we kind of complement these two kind of plans going forward, and kind of especially the prioritization of projects as, they're both potentially could be expensive projects that are kind of being proposed, right? So just some insight onto how we tackle that.
Through the chair to Councillor Duplessis. So actually, in the proposal that we received from the Glen Group, it actually paid particular attention to the active transportation plan. As you're aware, they were actually one of the, they were the ones that were the consultant that worked on the active transportation plan, so they're very familiar with the connections, and that will be taken into consideration as how people can move about to some of these facilities and possibly new ones and what we currently have. So there is connection definitely into that plan. It was definitely, when that plan is going to be developed, there would be insight put in to connect the two for sure.
Yeah, I think that's great news, and the idea that these are going to be done, and I think it's one of the benefits. I know we didn't have a deep competition for the tender process, but I think at the end of the day, I think that's a huge benefit to going with this group, that they have done that project for us already, would know it innately, and also had met a lot of the stakeholders and community members that we hope to get engaged for a round 2 type of situation here. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Councillor Duplessis. Councillor Harris, did you want to? Yeah, to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just more of, I don't like studies, Jace, you know that, but obviously we started down this road a little while ago, and we asked if we could do it in-house, and the answer was no, that we didn't have the manpower to do it in-house. So we did go out. I'm like Councillor Duplessis, I'm not happy with the responses we got, but, to try to hold this up and go again, we're kind of delaying for budget process in the fall. So I would hope this group would know, and that we want input from our citizens. We want everything to come, we want the information to come from people, the stakeholders that are involved, not just council, but from sports teams to bike groups to artists. I mean, we want to make sure they know what our public wants before they come back, because I don't want studies in front of us like we had this past few months, that we have to get a group together at council to go back to investigate a study that we already looked at, and not in favor of doing that and duplicating the work. So I hope you let this group know that my personal opinion, maybe not council's, but I don't really, is make sure they get it right and make sure they get the input from our citizens.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Harris. Just I would echo the sentiments on the parking study and what didn't come in there, but I would just want to maybe make the clarification that this is an engagement exercise and building of a plan with action items. Although the devil is always in the details, Director Walsh, so it's up to you to make sure that the plan comes back with that clear list of action items and that implementation component, which we know on some of our more successful plans have allowed us to turn plans into actions and making things happen in the community. So we'll look forward to an action-oriented outcome. Seeing with no further lights, I will call the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is a motion regarding a proposed amendment to our mandatory COVID vaccine policy. Do I have a member of council willing to make that motion? Councillor Arsenault.
I move that the City of Miramichi adopt the amended policy number 113- mandatory